here to talk about The Conjuring 2. It's going to be full of spoilers. I'm going to get through the cast, the director, writers, and then talk quickly spoiler free thoughts, and then onto the spoilers. It's directed by James Wan, same director as the first one. Written by Chad Hayes, Carrie W. Hayes, and James Wan, which is the same as the first Conjuring. With cinematographer Don Burgess. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson return as Ed and Lorraine Warren. And the family focus for this movie is on the Hodgson family during the Enfield poltergeist incident, and this takes place in 1977. And the family is played by Madison Wolfe, who played Janet. Frances O'Connor played the mother, Peggy. Benjamin Hay played Billy Hodgson. Patrick McHaley played Johnny Hodgson. Lauren Esposito played Margaret, which is Hodgson, which is like the older sister. Javier Botet played the Crooked Man. Benjamin Hay played, Bonnie Aarons played the Demon Nun, and Bob Adrian played Bill Wilkins. Movies is about the 1977 Enfield poltergeist incident where the Warrens investigate where an 11-year-old girl named Janet is being tormented by an evil presence and then starts showing signs of demonic possession. My spoiler-free thoughts. This is a really sweet story about a family with their own struggles while also being kicked while they're down by an evil presence. Ed and Lorraine's chemistry is even better and even sweeter than the first one. Evil presence, the things doing the scaring in this movie, the spirits or demons, are really well done, really creepy, just really eerie. There are some negatives though, where one of the siblings, whose name is Johnny, I'm not sure if they forgot about him or what, but he really didn't have anything to do with the story and was really just kind of there. And you saw him in a couple scenes, and in some scenes where I'm not sure if I missed him, I just didn't see him. And yeah, and also there was this one character, and obviously I thought the first one did a really good job with showing skepticism in trying to debunk things, but this lady just, I don't know, she was skeptic to a fault, to where it really just felt overdone, just really kind of annoying. Luckily she's not in the movie too much, but yeah. Now onto the spoilers. The movie starts with a scene in Amityville with the Warrens investigating to see if there's actually a demonic presence that caused the Amityville murders, where the guy killed his whole family. And Lorraine uses her ability, and it shows the whole thing happen, but Lorraine was the killer, or was like acting as a killer, like as if she was possessed by something, which I thought was really smart. Just just a really smart way of doing that. And after she does that, she's obviously scared for good reason, and what the family members want to show her something in the basement. So she goes down into the basement, and then they point to a sheet covering something. She pulled down the sheet, and it's a mirror where she would see the demon nun until it popped up in front of her and grabbed her, and then the chairs break away, and it shows like a premonition of Ed's death, where it looks like he gets impaled by some spike thing, or yeah. Originally, though, Volok was going to have a different design. Volok was going to have a more, which is the name you figure out later, which is, it was going to look more demonic, but I really like that they went with a nun because it used it to attack Lorraine's faith, try to break her down. And that vision was also the one that, in the first one, where Ed talked about how Lorraine locked herself in a room for 8 days because of what she saw, and it, which is just definitely understandable, feeling really not good if you saw a premonition of your husband's or wife's or whatever family member's death. The scares actually start pretty like pretty much immediately with the family, and while they don't say anything explicitly about it, Janet and her friend had made a Ouija board, and I really think that that's what lured the demon to the family to attach itself to them. To really, yeah. And the cliches are dodged when, like, when in ghost movies, oftentimes you will have experiences happen, but then as like to the children or to one parent, or just, yeah, obviously just the kids, and the parents never see anything until the very end. This isn't the case for this movie. When Janet is really being tormented by Bill, the mother comes in, like, obviously gives some crap saying, "Oh, you scaring yourself with the Ouija board," because she found it under Janet's bed. But then the bureau slams into the door, causing it to slam shut, which scared Peggy half to death. And the cliche dodges are not done because, again, oftentimes in paranormal movies, cops don't usually experience anything when they're called. But when they hear like a slamming noise happening in like the walls, they grab a chair to like try to get so they can reach higher to see if they can knock to feel any like hollow walls or anything. But then once they step down after hearing the noise again, the chair moves by itself back into the kitchen, and the cops actually stood by their word and said that, yeah, this happened. We don't know how it happened, but it happened. There's also there's two different evil presences going on. Well, actually, no. Technically, there's only one, but because later on in the movie, you figure out that Bill Wilkins, the one that had been tormenting the family before, was being forced to do that by Volok. And Volok was strong enough to not, or was strong enough to cloud Vera Farmiga's, Lorraine Warren's psychic ability and control the spirit to do its bidding, to do the dirty work. Took the form of the Crooked Man, which is like a nursery rhyme thing that Billy and Janet, or Janet uses with Billy to help Billy with his stutter. Because, yeah, Billy suffers a stutter, and stuttering isn't fun. So it uses that to torment Billy, because they stay at their neighbor's house when this happened, and their dogs are trained to ring a bell when they need to go to the bathroom. So Billy obviously thought, oh, the dog needs to go out, so he went and opened the door. Then the dog changed into the Crooked Man and just tormented them. In the shot, that obviously the thing, or the Crooked Man changing from the dog into the Crooked Man, that was CG. But the shot after that, where it's like walking down the hallway, tormenting Billy, like that actually wasn't CG. Believe it or not, that was done practically. And until like a year or so ago, I didn't know that. I thought it was CG because I didn't think you could get an effect like that with practical. The third act is insane, in the stuff before the third act gets insane, because when Ed and Lorraine Warren are investigating after hearing the voice of what they thought was an old man, which was actually coming out of Janet, they mind bending stuff happens to where Janet, like, she used a jump rope to tie herself to the bed in her mother's room so she can't sleepwalk, and all of a sudden she's like on the ceiling stuck as she sees Bill Wilkins walking up the stairs whistling, and it's just really really creepy as she gets pulled through the ceiling into the room that's locked from the outside. And that room was also filled with a bunch of crucifixes that was donated to by different families around where they live in Enfield. Now Ed and Lorraine do their best before everything goes to crap to try to try to comfort the family, make them happy and not scared, with Ed singing Elvis, which I just thought was a very sweet, very well done scene. Really gave hope to the characters and the struggles they were dealing with. And the spirits threatened to kill the family if if Janet didn't get rid of the Warrens, which, yeah, they see them as a big threat. So she fakes an incident, although, I mean, the way she threw a table in the video, I don't understand how an 11-year-old girl would be able to do that. But, yeah. And obviously, since she faked it, just happened, I should say, she did it on purpose, to be in front of a camera, the Warrens had to leave because the church would have told them to leave, because, yeah, it would take away any credibility, even though weird stuff had been happening to that family the whole time. And once they leave, they have two tapes, because Bill Wilkins like said two different phrases, but it wasn't complete sentences. And until Ed accidentally drops a couple of tapes, which, I mean, that can definitely not be very believable because likelihood of that happening isn't very high, but I thought it was fine. They play it together, and it says, "Help, it won't let me go," which is what Bill Wilkins is saying, because Volok won't let him pass on to heaven. And it was just, once that revelation happened, Lorraine and Ed left the train and went back to help the family, because obviously there was something very strong and very evil there that wants to hurt the family. Ed manages to get inside, but Lorraine isn't able to get inside at the same time because the door shuts and locks, and the neighbor has to like cut part of it down with an axe. But obviously Ed couldn't wait, so he climbed into the house through the basement and gets steam poured in, or like shot into his eyes and around his like eyes and face and stuff like that, and really just fucks up his vision, makes it so that he can barely see what's happening, and the whole house is getting destroyed at this point. It's just getting absolutely wrecked, with like walls cracking, furniture being broken and thrown around the whole house. Just insane stuff. As Ed makes his way upstairs, he encounters the image of the Crooked Man as it tries to attack him in a pretty creepy scene because, yeah, that type of stuff creeps me out. This Crooked Man is just not natural. It's just eerie. Ed finally makes it into the room where possessed Janet is about to leap onto a tree that was shot by lightning. And it turns out it's the same tree that Lorraine saw in her vision. So obviously Lorraine's freaking out. Ed grabs Janet, but he has to grab onto. Yeah, grab onto the blinds or the. Yeah, curtains to try to not have her fall onto a tree and die, which is very intense. And Lorraine finally is able to get inside. As she runs upstairs, Volok appears and really just is trying to stop her at all costs so she can't save Ed. But unfortunately for Volok, as I said earlier, they set up the fact that it was, or Volok told her its name, and knowing the name of the demon gives you power over it. So she says its name and condemns it back to hell, and is able to save Ed and Janet. And end scene is another sweet scene with Janet and the Warrens talking about what happened and how have something to believe in. And Ed also gave her his crucifix that he used when he was a child. I forgot to say that. He used the crucifix when he was a child to get rid of something that was hiding under his bed. So it meant a lot to Ed. So I thought that was really sweet. The movie ends with with Ed and Lorraine Warren back home, and Lorraine put on Elvis, and that's where it ends. This movie is, I think I might prefer this to the first Conjuring, even though there's more problems with the Conjuring 2 than there is the first Conjuring. I'm going to give the Conjuring 2 a 9.5. Some issues, but nothing major. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and thank you.